What I've seen so far is what I would say is, I don't mean to be critical because this is an issue where sound bites mean a lot, but I've seen a lot of very blunt discussion on what is a multifaceted issue and a very important one. And it's getting better. The debate is getting better because people are recognizing the many sides to this. And if you don't mind, I'll just lay out four,
Sure.
which is any kind of program here. You have to have fairness. We don't want people taking advantage of information that they gain through their public service. Absolutely against the law, etc. You want confidence. You want the American people to have confidence that if we have those rules, they're being enforced. Then what you want to have is our people in government to be invested alongside the American people. We don't want them excluded from the market. In our country, you're saving for your own retirement. We have 300 million people who someday, one way or another, are going to rely on market performance to pay for their retirement. We want our elected representatives to be sitting alongside them. And then last, we don't want rules that exclude people from serving in government. And this is particularly important. We've seen over the last few years just how important it is to have private sector up-to-date expertise enter the government. And if you'll bear with me, and we see this from both sides of the aisle, this should not be a partisan issue. Just two people who are on your program often, Scott Gottlieb, Gina Raimondo. When they speak, they have that private sector, public sector expertise, and they tie it all together. We need that in a number of areas.
Yeah, I see your point, and not closing the door to all talent in public service. Some of this hits close to home for us in financial media. We're not allowed to trade individual securities. I wonder, do you think it's about individual securities or holding periods or just sheer disclosure or some combination of all of the above?
You make a terrific point. As we go through this, and look, it was 10 years ago that the Stock Act was passed. It's time for it to be updated. But we're not painting on a blank canvas. We have people in the media industry, financial services industry, people who run companies. There are restrictions, disclosures, prophylactics that work. Your point around a ban versus other, what I would say is prophylactic measures, is a very good one. I think what we want is, we don't want people trading, but we want to allow people to invest. And say, for example, on single stocks, if you're a senior executive in a company, you have essentially mandatory holding periods for single stock of your company. Jay Powell identified other prophylactics, which is, let's say you want to enter into XYZ company. Have a 10-day delay from when you make that decision to when the trade is actually executed. So it prevents the sort of market timing, immediate trading that people are worried about. Those types of things can be done. Discretionary accounts. Sometimes people mix up discretionary accounts and blind trusts. Those types of things can be done. I'm not in favor of an outright ban, but I am in favor of transparency and some of these prophylactic measures.
Yeah, and I'm sure both of those things would go a very long way. Just out of curiosity, Jay, how about family members, husbands and wives, for example? How should they factor into this discussion? Because we do know that there have been a number of lawmakers where, even if they haven't been actively engaged in trading over the years, they've had family members who have been.
Look, this is a thorny issue, and in many ways, and including for some of you and me, it's a personal issue. My spouse was a professional before I went into government, and we determined that she should actually leave her job. I don't think that should apply in many government jobs, including in Congress. We can't ask people who are giving up their careers to come into Congress and serve to ask their spouse to make a sacrifice of giving up their career. There are ways forward, whether it's discretionary accounts, clearance with ethics officers and the like. And here's where I think Congress is different from a place like the SEC or the Fed.